Anxieties about books' disruptive power had begun to intensify in the 16th century. In one early version of the story, performed for a culture newly enamoured of the products of mechanical printing, an intellectually restless scholar uses them as go-betweens in his conversation with devils, swapping infernal knowledge for an immortal soul. In this, Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus departed from its predecessors in German folklore. The original Faustian pact traded directly with the devil. But Marlowe was speaking to the Renaissance world of knowledge created by the printing press, which had made books more present, more prevalent, and more liable to fall into the wrong hands. That Faust, or Fust, was also the name of Johannes Gutenberg's business partner in his print shop may be a coincidence, but it's a delicious one. The sense of books' shadowy magic continued to accrue force as the printing press compounded its cultural dominance. Glossing The Master and the Pupil in his 1890 compilation of English fairy tales, folklorist Joseph Jacobs suggests that the magician's spell has long been used for raising the... His omission of the word devil reveals that he, like the learned man in the North Country, is invested in the power of the printed word. Jacobs' book, which was also responsible for popularising such familiar stories as Tom Thumb, Dick Whittington, The Three Little Pigs, and Jack and the Beanstalk, is implied to possess the power of the Sorcerer's Book of Magic. The reader is advised not to read the lines out when alone, since one never knows what may happen. In a tale told with pared-down simplicity, the detail of the book's description in The Master and His Pupil is striking. We know more about what it looks like than either of the human protagonists, who are scarcely characterised at all. That's because the book is at the centre of the story. While its contents are only implied, its outward appearance visualises its magical powers. Originally, the book features described had a practical purpose, but by the time of the story, they had come to connote antique and powerful learning. For example, when books were stored flat rather than upright, as was common practice until the late 17th century, their corners needed protection. Metal corner pieces were thus first practical and later decorative aspects of bookbinding. Metal clasps also initially had a practical purpose, preventing pages made from vellum, calfskin, from curling or buckling in damp conditions. Later, when they were no longer needed because paper leaves were less susceptible to their environment, clasps were nevertheless retained on some volumes to symbolise the important, precious or secret content between the book's covers. Buy a modern tween, a physical diary, for example, and that book may well include a lockable plastic clasp in retro imitation, conferring a heightened sense of privacy on their adolescent confessions. A clasped book also demanded a certain physical ceremony. Writing in the early 14th century, explaining and defending his own ruinously expensive book habit, Richard de Bury admonished careless handling of books. In the first place, as to the opening and closing of books, let there be due moderation, that they be not unclasped in precipitate haste, nor when we have finished our inspection be put away without being duly closed. Opening and closing the clasp was part of a ritual of respect for the book and its contents, a ritual that should be afforded proper care and time. The medievalish leather-bound volume with metal clasps described in the story thus has a range of visual connotations, with magic, with scripture and ritual, and with storytelling itself. In the story, the master is culpable because he left the book unclasped, leaving its esoteric secrets open to the unworthy. And attached to a table, his book evokes the history of chaining valuable books in university and cathedral libraries in the Middle Ages and well beyond. The Bodleian Library in Oxford stopped chaining books in 1769, the last Oxford College unchained theirs in 1799. All these features combine to create a venerable, occult, and valuable book, part Bible, part grimoire or book of spells. Archetypal and potent, these books